one to work?
Yep.
This is one of the coolest designs I've seen. So the E38 struts, all of this is steel, not a lot less aluminum here, only the wishbones are aluminum. Steel wheel carrier, steel strut. Strut has a fin welded to it that fits down in the carrier. It only fits one way, so it's oriented the proper way. Then the bolt goes through and threads into the carrier on the other side, locking it perfectly in position. That is absolutely brilliant. We've got new struts, links, both control arms, all the front brakes, boot, cage bearing, and top mount. 8:30, that puts us at 13 hours so far today, and I'm about to clock out. So, front brakes are done, pads, rotors, and sensor. Rear brakes are done, pads, rotors, and sensor. Rear guide links are done, rear ball joints are done. Front straight arms, front curved arms, front struts, front all the hardware that goes with the front struts, all done. That's a lot of work on this car today. A lot of suspension stuff, pretty much everything but lowering the car down onto the ramps and torquing everything at ride height. This is a 63,000 mile car, so pretty much everything we removed was original. Front curved arm, inner bushings were shot, play. You'd feel it, you hit the brakes, the front axle moves around a little bit. Outer tie rods appear to have been done. They're in good shape. So everything but that's done. I am impressed with the E38 7 Series build quality up here. Yes, things are bigger and heavier and steel instead of aluminum. But as I showed you on the ground, that makes strut installation into the carrier very simple. And we assembled everything but the brakes on the ground, then just lifted it up into the car, put the 13 mils on top, torqued those down, new caps on top. So remaining work, we've got a fuel filter, a transmission fluid flush. Already did the diff fluid change, that happened today too, an engine oil change, oil filter housing, bushings, and then front door lock actuators ×2. He's already done the rears. So I think that is about everything that's going to happen to this car, and if things go well, it'll be done around Monday, and then it'll just come down to an alignment if he wants us to do that. Earlier today, Mike worked over here, degreased the whole front of the engine. That took forever. It's just a mess, and we couldn't tell where anything's leaking from. So it looks like the front crank hub, front main seal is leaking. The lower oil pan has been resealed, and someone just used gobs of silicone instead of the gasket. You can put a smear on it, sure, but you don't need gobs of it. Same thing with the upper pan. The upper pan's been off this car, probably means subframe out. Maybe it had timing chains and guides. Only 102K, so that'd be a little early, but good preventative. And they used gobs of silicone there too. So now with the clean engine, we'll give it back to the customer in a few days when it's done. I think the only thing we have to do is install some sun visors in this thing, different black and textile sun visors, and put the belly pants back on, torque the wheels, test drive, reset any CBS data, and it'll be done. So we're close on this one. We're close on that 740. The gray car is doing very well, as I detailed last night in the lengthiest vlog in a while. He pretty much declined the rest of the service, said he's going to deal with tires and alignment at home. The pedals, the clutch pedal's still naked. He has dyed-in pedal covers he's going to put on there. And whatever else I mentioned last night, he's just going to take care of himself. So no troublesome codes have returned. Everything's running and driving very well, minus the issues I've mentioned. So that should be out soon. So if we can eliminate 3 cars, that's great news. Work scope on the 540 is increasing. We're starting a bit of a fun retrofit. The goal is to have it done by the end of the year. That is park distance control. A man needs a few things in life. A V8 rear-wheel drive manual transmission car with PDC. It wouldn't be a BMW without beepers on it. So I've retrofit front PDC on my M5, which was pretty easy because I already had rear PDC and a lot of the wiring already there, like the power harness and the iBus harness. But this is going to be a more involved task. Decided to do it, 1, because I want it, and 2, these non-M parts are just so inexpensive comparatively. So I've already received one of these little impact strip corners, I think that side. The other one's in Germany, so that will take time. And then the sensors actually plug into little receptacles that snap on the inside of this trim. And I ordered all 4 of those. They're all different. One of them arrived same day somehow. Same thing with that corner strip. I ordered them this morning. The other 3 are in Germany. The power harness I believe it's the last one in the world. So that's going to be the black connector that plugs into the module in the trunk. So I've got that ready to go. There's going to be a lot of wiring. There's grounds back here. There's some red and yellow wire that goes up under the dash. There's an iBus wire that goes into a block behind the glove box. Then obviously pinning the SCM panel. I already bought one of those on eBay that has the correct buttons. mostly correct buttons. I will probably end up retrofitting heated seats to this car after one winter. If it's going to black sport seats, if I can find something in equal or better condition. These seats are in very good condition, but I really don't love the flat bottoms. I'm just very used to the bolsters. They're fine. I haven't driven any crazy long road trips, but I was comfortable after Palm Springs and back. And then the gong speaker will need to be pinned. We need a gong speaker back here that will go underneath the rear deck. I wish I would have put that in 2 weeks ago when that was out. The sensors, I'm not buying OEM. They're cost prohibitive. So there's an aftermarket company in Germany that sells them pre-painted in this color, which is fantastic. So that will involve replacing the rear bumper corner pieces, the center piece, and that's it. So the bumper carrier already has the holes in it. I will have to drill a hole in the chassis when the rear bumper comes off to run the thing through, but it comes with a nice grommet. So as long as we get the hole the right size and then paint the exposed metal or put some oil or silicone or something on it so it doesn't rust, that'll be a good solution there. But it will have PDC. That's going to be fun. And as I said, it's just going to take time to collect all the parts, figure out what's going to be new, what's going to be used, and go for it there. And the reason I'm doing it kind of right now, or at least starting the project now, I think I'll do it in 3 stints. Stint number 1 will be the front bumper, which we already have here, obviously, and I want to get on sooner than later since we're now missing a fog light. So I wanted to get the right impact strip corners, and I can put the front sensors in and put the strips in, just not wire anything yet, and then just pull the bumper in 20 minutes later and run the front sensor harness back. That's probably going to be the most miserable part. I think we're going to start here, run it over this side, down the driver's side through the firewall, and then either traverse the car in the trunk or under the rear seat somehow to get it over to the passenger side where the module will live. Boy, I wish they pre-wired these and just made one harness that had all the doodads on it, but they don't do that. I'm going to pull the spare tire here eventually and clean that up, the spare wheel and the well. If we have to sand it and paint it, then we will. Otherwise, it might not be beyond a good cleanup. PDC module is going to bolt right in here. We'll just take those 2 nuts off and put the bracket and the module in there and go from there. I mean, I haven't dug in here to see if it's pre-wired, but it's not. It's an 02, fairly basey, 39 minus sunshades. But I think because I've got the sunshade, I shouldn't have to do any crazy fusing. Now, I retrofit heated seats on a customer's 530 before he moved up to Oregon, and he had me do all the wiring in the SCM, and his car was totally base. It only had a DSC button. And when you've only got the DSC button, this SCM panel here is only about 2 inches deep, and it only has like 4 wires going into it. But once you add any of the other options, heated seats, PDC, or sunshades, now the panel's thicker. It already has power and ground wires. It's already fused. So we'll have to see if I need to do those wiring modifications or not. It's not a huge deal. And really, adding stuff into the fuse panel is no big deal. I've done it before. It just takes some time. So it'll be kind of a winter day. We'll get a cold, wet winter day sometime late this fall or early in the winter. Ken and I will come in here on a Saturday maybe and just get to work. And it's all tedious, monotonous stuff. Disassembly of trim and removing the rear seat again and stuff like that. Nothing we haven't done before. So we got over 21 hours of billables today, which is fantastic. Still more effort, more man hours than 21, which we're working on to increase efficiency, but it feels like a productive day all in all, a very productive day in here over 12 hours. So I'm gonna head home and shower and get something to eat. Got to wrap up today. I've got to get up in like 5 hours to order an iPhone, and I'm so annoyed with that. It's 5 a.m. for the pre-order. I'm gonna try through AT&T. Most of the time that's where I have my success, if it's the mobile app or if it's on my Mac. Gotta set an alarm for 4:57, so that's going to be horrendous, but ultimately worth it. I will talk to you guys tomorrow on Thursday. Friday already, damn.